Welcome to My Spoonie Sisters, featuring stories from special guests dedicated to empowering those with chronic illness. Our goal? To connect people and provide the support and tools they need to live a better life. For those with chronic illness, our energy levels just fade faster. We must be more purposeful with the spoons allotted to us. So grab your coffee or tea, sister, and tune in as My Spoonie Sisters share stories of living with chronic illness. Welcome to another episode. Hi, My Spoonie Sisters. I am so excited to welcome our guest today, Sharon Banyas Hefetz. I think I said that right this time, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Well, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for having me here. Excited to be here.
Yes, it's my pleasure. So, if you don't mind, can you give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are and why we brought you on the show?
So my name is Sharon Banyas Hefetz. I'm a mindset coach. I work with mamas, and I work on rediscovering, reconnecting to your authentic self. And then it happened. And last August, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, high-risk multiple myeloma. It was occupying 95% of my bone marrow. And so I kind of took all the things that I learned, that whole 12-step journey that I put mamas through and put myself through, and actually found my way to my first complete remission, hoping that will be my first and last and stay there. But that's basically where I find myself today, is trying to help and inspire women with these chronic illnesses and pains, and kind of on the mindset journey.
That's beautiful. I love how you took something like that and turned it around to help other people.
Thank you.
So let's start at the beginning here. When was your diagnosis? Was a year ago? Did you say August?
Yeah, it was August of last year.
Okay. So what does your treatment care plan look like?
So because of the fact that I have multiple myeloma is a cancer that's found in men over 65, 70. So as you can see, I'm exactly, as a 45-year-old woman, I'm exactly the profile. So what they put me on a quadlet. So it's a 4 regimen treatment, which is really strong. That's because of my age, and otherwise I was very healthy. To go as aggressive as possible in order to clean. I asked them, what is the chance that this would help? They told me 30% chance that the treatments themselves will actually help me go into remission. They told me that some people react really, really fast. So within 4 to 6 weeks, you can see immense. I told them, great, I'll be there. Those are the only things I clinged on throughout the whole journey. Any silver lining, I just brainwashed myself that I would be there in that silver lining. I just had no capacity to take otherwise. And honestly, that was my home treatment. That's how I treated myself in the mindset. After 4 weeks, I was down from closer to the range. Just so you understand, it was supposed to be, the protein that they found, instead of being 7 to 11, it was on 933. A week later, it was on 1300. And of course, they found 4 abnormalities, 3 of them at high risk, I got the best one possible. So that's why I was 30% chance that it would even help. Luckily, after 6 weeks, I was down to 200 from that 1300. So that put me closer to the range. And after 6 weeks, I was within the range. I wasn't cleaned, but I was within the range. And then it started negotiation. And this is basically what I would recommend and say to everyone, is that yes, doctors, yes, Western medicine, but yes, you yourself, because there's nobody that knows you more than you do. You know how you feel, you know what sits and resonates right and what doesn't, and what makes you more inspired to take action, and what motivates you to heal, basically. When I say take action, I mean heal. and put yourself in that place. And I feel that that's the biggest part, because I started negotiation from the moment that this started. They wanted me to go through chemo, and I didn't see any record of chemo helping high risk for more than a year. And I said, there's no proof. And they said, yeah, but it's protocol. And I said, I'll reach an agreement with you. I'll do 2 more cycles instead of 4 cycles. I'll do 6 cycles. And if I'm in remission, we're skipping it. And I got an okay. And I was in remission and we skipped it. Thank God. And now I'm still in maintenance. So it's half the dose of the treatment, basically.
Okay.
And hopefully in August we go into another biopsy and we go into another negotiation, I guess.
So what do these treatments look like?
Oof. Physically what they are, I get an infusion. I have a pill that I take every single day, which is an antibody. Sorry, it's an immune. My head's not working now. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. It'll come to you eventually.
And then I have a shot. I have 2 targeted chemos. So one is in an infusion and one is a shot, which was every week. And now it's down to once a month. The infusion is twice a month. And that pill is every day. And I take steroids with the 2 treatments that I get. I have very, very high, like 40 milligrams of steroids. So I'm like up for 2 nights, talking to everyone overseas, whoever I can. And I do so much work. I get so much work done and so many conversations with old friends. And I try, again, focus my energy there on looking at that instead of, lately the treatments have been a little rough. I think it's because of the accumulation in my body. So I've been having much more. I've had nothing in the beginning, luckily, thank God. But now I think the accumulation of all what they're giving me. So it kind of gives me more nausea, body aches, fatigue, the whole spiel. That's basically.
Okay. Is there anything that helps with those feelings? Is there anything that you can take to help you not feel so nauseated or anything?
I discovered Dramamine, which is it's a natural. It's more on the natural ginger.
Mm-hmm.
And it assists a lot. I can't say 100% of the time, but yes, it helps a lot. Another thing is CBD oil sometimes helps, depending on the hour of the day.
Absolutely.
And,
I love ginger. I actually carry ginger chews with me in my purse all the time. They make some magnificent flavors too, like mango and all the things.
Right. I heard that helps a lot too. So I'm like trying to not do sugars. I'm not I can't do the chews, but that's why I was looking for something, because the chews really did help me in pregnancy and in other situations that they were great.
Yeah. Well, looking back, what do you wish you'd known at the beginning of your journey?
I'm going to say something that I discovered a week before, which was a lifesaver. A week before I was talking to a friend and she was telling me about an autoimmune, and the fact that they she was having aches in all her joints, and sending her to a rheumatologist. She went after 3 months of waiting and in excruciating pain. And then she went to the rheumatologist, and then they gave her sets of different testings she needed to do. But some of them, like, she could only get after a month or 2. Why am I telling you this? Because in that conversation a week before, she told me, Sharon, I know you lost a lot of weight. You need to go back to your doctor and demand everything you can demand. Everything now, not after you get to the next doctor. Now. Because I lost 20 pounds and it was like 4 to 5 a week. And I went to the doctor and she's like, yeah, I gave you everything. And I told her. And after that conversation, I set another appointment. I lost 3 more pounds. It was a few days later. And I went there and I told her, look, I need you to give me every test you have. And she said, I did. I said, no. there has to be another stool, another urine, saliva, blood test, ear test. I don't care. And I sat there and I told her, look, I'm so sorry that this is sounding the way it's sounding, but I'm not moving until you give me every single test you have available. And I left home, and that one of those tests discovered that protein. It was just one of those tests that she just gave me, and she said, and that saved my life, because that test, I had an appointment to a hematologist like 3-4 weeks later. I sent that test to a friend, thank God. And she said, and I was like, WTAF, what is that? I haven't talked to you in 3 months, I know, but what is that? I can't that looks scary. And she says, look, I'm on my way to a friend of mine who's a hematologist, oncologist. And I was like, oncologist? Yeah. Let me check. The doctor got me in the next day. She's like, she cannot wait another day. This was 6 p.m. She got me in at 9 a.m. And she did a biopsy that morning. And as I told you, the following week, it was already 1,300. That testing went up by another 30% within a week. They saved my bones. My bones would have been with holes and broken. And remind you, I have 3 little kids. It's not the situation that you wish for yourself in that. So advocate, be your own advocate. There's no place for, I feel uncomfortable to ask, or look, my doctor's really trying, or all that pleaser inside of you that is noticing everyone around you and saying, yeah, they're doing their job, and do not listen to that pleaser. Listen to that advocate and just ask for every little thing that you can, and listen to your gut and listen to your intuition, because you know when something's off in your body. You know. It's like sometimes we don't know what's off, or we can't explain it, or it's not that bad, but we know when something's off in our body, and it's crucial.
I can't agree with you anymore. I think that's a powerful thing to share.
I really, it's so, if I would have went with the system, I don't know where I'd be today. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. I think that's amazing advice that your friend gave to you. And I'm so happy that you fought for answers, that you demanded those tests. And I think people need to realize sometimes we have to do that.
We do.
You're not being a terrible person by confronting them and saying, do more, try more, test more, dig deeper. Because sometimes we are complex and we need to dig deeper.
Right. And the doctors it's not their fault either. They have a range that they're allowed to go in. And yeah, they can stretch the range, but you need to tell them to do that.
Calling all Spoonies. As a host of a chronic illness podcast, nothing lights up my day more than hearing from you, our incredible listeners. Whether it's a topic close to your heart that you want us to uncover, or you are keen to show your own journey as a guest on our show, your voice matters. Living with chronic illness can often feel isolating, but through the power of podcasting, we can come together as a community to uplift, educate, and inspire one another. Your stories, insights, and questions drive the conversations we have and the topics we explore. So if there's something on your mind, a story that you are just itching to share, or a guest you'd love to hear from, don't hesitate to reach out. Your voice is not only welcomed here, but celebrated. Let's continue to amplify the voices of those living with chronic illnesses and create a space where everyone feels heard, supported, and empowered. Together, we are stronger. Right. And they have a protocol.
Right. They have a protocol.
Yeah. So what would be your top 5 things in your toolkit?
I have to say a big one is intention. Doing things with intention. Learning the art of intention. They say mindfulness and it sounds so woo-woo, but that's not the issue. Just doing, if everyone would take, all of your listeners right now, have something to take a sip with, and they would take a sip of water. Just like that, drink a cup and put it down. And then I would ask you to hold that water in your hand and close your eyes for 2 breaths. 2 deep breaths in and out, and just imagine that water being infused with light. Really believe that all of your energy and your light is going into that water, and then take a sip. And when you're taking a sip, imagine that water being infused, that healing water infusing into your cells right now. It could take 5 seconds, but it can change the whole purpose of the water. Our mind takes the water differently. Our body absorbs the water differently. The water travels through our body differently because our brain tells it to. So just doing things with intention. I can give you a few little ideas, like I spell my coffee in the morning with my intention. So like my intention for the day is ease. A word. You just think of a word and you infuse your coffee with it. And then while you're drinking, it's practicing doing everything with an intention gives you self-care without even working on it. Because your mind is practicing to make you in a better place, to put you in a better place. My second thing in my toolkit is gratitude. There are a lot of hard days, and I can tell you 100% that anxiety and gratitude cannot live together in the mind. So on days that are harder, and sometimes it's maybe forceful in the beginning, but gratitude. If I woke up on the wrong foot, I'm like, okay, sit down. I am thankful for, it could be for my bed sheets. It could be for the breath that I'm taking. It could be for my children and all the regular things that it's very easy for people to say, that I have a roof over my head, things like that. But it could be for a tiny smile that you received that morning from someone that was right on spot, or the row of green lights, that it's just paying attention to the better things, because there's a lot of poop all the time. And, life gives it to you in like blessings. You get a lot of that if you want. But there's a lot of the other stuff too. And if we just realize the poop much easier. I don't know who's listening. That's why I'm saying that word and not other words. but I'm saying, like, we don't put enough emphasis on the other in order to give ourselves that balance in our brain, in our mind. So that would be the second thing, is gratitude. The third thing is choice, which is remembering that we always have a choice, even if it's only in our mind, even if it's where we put our thoughts. For example, you have a doctor's appointment in a week. You can stress out about it for the whole week and then find out it was nothing. Or you could decide to right now pay attention to the food you're eating, to the drink you're drinking, to the little things that are around you. If you can't shift your mindset to, it's going to be nothing, it's going to be amazing, it's not worrying me, then at least you shift your mindset to the daily present things, because you can't do anything until you get to that doctor's appointment. So everything that happens till then is made up thoughts. You're just making up things in your imagination. Nothing is based on real. Nothing is real. So choose the imaginary story that you want to live with for that week. That's your imagination. And if you make up good stories, it could also be your imagination. So it's like choosing which part of the stick you're gonna, every stick has two sides, which part of the stick you're gonna lift, basically. The fourth thing is meditation. And for those who have hard times with meditation, I will strengthen and say that it is so helpful to allow you to take charge of the day and not the day take charge of you and you putting out fires all the time. That's one thing it helps with. And another thing, if you're having a hard time doing meditation, I heard that even 5 to 6 times throughout the day, taking 30 seconds for deep breaths gives you the equivalent balance of meditation. So that's very, like, just stopping to breathe and focusing on your breath, even for 30 seconds, that gives you a lot of like rebalancing yourself and realigning yourself. And the fifth thing, it was hard to choose one last thing because I have a lot, but water. water, water, water. Drink water before you drink your coffee. That's a hard one for me, but water. Drink as much water as you can within the limits, of course, of what you need, but spoil your body.
That's a wonderful list. I love it. I love it.
Thanks. I hope it helps.
I think absolutely it's going to help someone. Oh, there's so much to offer just in that list alone. I want to ask you, how did you get into your profession?
Ooh, so I was an entrepreneur. I had a business. My husband and I, we had a business in Arizona and in Mexico. We were doing distribution and retail. And at a certain point, and I was working 24/7, morning to night. And I was trying to find the way to continue and keep it going. I had 2 kids at that time, and I was running on empty, basically on caffeine. And I just shifted from our business to focusing on our employees. So instead of having a company goal, I was doing coaching for them, and we were finding all the goals, all the whys, and then together I would reach each one goal. I would help them reach their goals. And that's how I made my business prosperous. But that was me. That was my shift into the coaching world. And then I made it, I did the certification and everything. And I understood that mindset was my biggest strength. Zooming out and seeing the biggest picture, like the big picture, is the strength that God gave me. So I wanted to use that with the coaching and kind of help.
So how do you help your clients navigate the emotional and psychological challenges that they come up with or face?
The first part, basically, I believe, is the fact that commitment to self, especially as women, it's so easy for us to commit to the world. And on the other hand, if I tell you, hey, Jen, you want to meet every Thursday for coffee at 7 to 7:15 because it would benefit your life, not sure you would be able to do that. You know what I mean? It's so easy for us. If someone needs us, we can drop everything and go, and we can help, and we can be there, but sometimes committing to ourselves is the hardest part. I've been working with women now I shifted kind of from mamas to mamas with the chronic illnesses, and I'm still doing both. But I think a lot of after committing to yourself, I have like this 12-step program that I work with. Again, that I worked with mamas, and now I work with this. And the second step is basically learning how to craft your bubble and creating that bubble that within it you're going to heal and you feel the best and sheltered, and the only thing that's allowed to go in there are things that we feel good with. And I teach the power of our thoughts and boundaries and segment intending and different things like that kind of help us find those boundaries that many of us didn't have, and that's why we got sick. And also, the biggest thing is the power of our thoughts. And I feel like a lot of our thoughts start with the internal dialogue that we use. So I could tell you that that's the biggest tip, is like starting to work on your entire internal dialogue. Oh, and you know what? I have an ebook on internal dialogue, and I'll leave it for you so you can put it up, and whoever wants can download it and read it and get more information about like how to defeat that horrible inner critic, that party pooper that comes in our mind and tells us all the things we should have, could have, would have, and all the criticism and all the things we didn't do right at the moment. I feel that that's the inner strength. Inner strength comes there because a lot of times we're looking for strength from outside, and we need to pull it from inside ourselves because we won't always have that same outside that we need, and they don't feel you the way you feel you.
True. Very, very true. So what are some key mindset strategies or techniques that you would recommend for managing stress and anxiety?
Managing stress and anxiety. Okay. So I will go back to the gratitude.
Okay.
Because I do feel that that is a big thing. It's also, okay, let's take it to thoughts. Well, we understand that our thoughts create our reality. Okay, our thoughts create the patterns of behavior, the way we behave, right? After that it creates our choices, the way we choose things, our decisions, our habits, and the way our life is constructed after all those things, because our behaviors, our habits, our decisions, right? That's our life. So if we go back to the root of that and we think of our thoughts, when we rewire our brain to think in a different way, we can shift ourselves from anxiety. It's not that easy because we were programmed the way we are.
Right.
And it's years and years and years and years and sometimes decades and decades and decades of programming. But it all starts with tiny steps. So if we even go into start with gratitude, meaning walking down the street, having a negative thought or anxiety or anything in that negative spectrum and saying, okay, negative, great. Look around, five things that you're positive about right now, that you're grateful for right now. I have an alarm that goes off every hour, on the hour, to remind me to do gratitude. And I can tell you that I practice gratitude, but I can tell you that it's not enough, especially when you're going through a lot. The fear, the anxiety, all those little negative characters come up and say, hey, I'm here to join you. And you got to say, no, you're not invited. So the way to not invite them is basically fill up more gratitude. And beyond that, change the way we think. We're prone to, I say this a lot, but I find out how many people don't know this. And I think it's important information. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts in a day. 95% is repetitive. So, and it's on autopilot, right? The way we tie our shoes, the way we make our coffee, walking to the kitchen, walking back to the bedroom, all those things are on autopilot. Those are part of the 95%. 80% of that is negative. Our default is negative. Our default is programmed to help us survive. But we don't live back then in huts with tigers around us and threats for our life every single moment of every single day. You know, the fact that the threat response, we're not going to have enough food, we're not going to have enough, all those fears and anxieties and things like that, those are things that are in our brain. It's like we're programmed in that way. But you need to understand that every negative thought has a ripple effect and every positive thought has a ripple effect. So if we put in a thought of gratitude, we put in a positive thought, that'll ripple on. Maybe you're walking by, instead of you're just thinking of that thing you were happy about and grateful for, thinking of that child that smiled to you, and you're walking down and smiling to yourself, and then suddenly you see a butterfly. Why? Because you're smiling and you're looking around, and you finally see a butterfly, and then you're walking around, and then you suddenly see the flowers on the tree, which you walk by every single day and you don't even see them. So just by reprogramming your mind, we're making our odds a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And within time, your brain looks for that. It searches those moments to look for.
How do you maintain a positive outlook?
So I can tell you, for me, meditation is a must. I need that. When I don't meditate, I walk out and I tell my family, this one's on you. I do that for them. I do. It gives me a lot of balance. And even if it's not a good session, it doesn't matter. It took me some time. It took me like 6 months to get to the point that I can do a 7-minute meditation without my brain going all over the place. Like, I had moments that I thought, wow, I did so long. And I would look at the time and it would be like 3 minutes. And I was, oh, that was 3 minutes. So it takes time, but I would really, 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 that's something today I don't miss at all. And if I do, it's once a month or something like that, that I would miss. And focusing on the present. And I'm sorry if it sounds kitschy or cliche or whatever, but focusing on the present's presence, which again, it's instead of worrying about something in the future or thinking about something that happened in the past and replaying it again and again and again and again. We tend to do that. When our mind is not in the present, it shifts past or future. That puts us much more in anxiety and in negativity because it's nothing we can control or do anything about. So we shift our energy back into the present and we shift our thoughts back into where we are right now, which means I am going to lift the page and I'm going to write and putting more intention in your things and thinking, okay, great, I want to be on. No, don't be on your phone. Sit down now and sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. I lost track. I'm sorry. Focusing on the present and just like being focused on what you're doing on the plate that you have or anything it is that you're doing at this moment will help you leave a little bit more of the negativity and focus more on the positivity and stay there.
I had a thought. I'm trying to bring that thought back.
We were talking about focusing on the present and shifting your energy to right now.
Okay.
I saw that thought come in your head. That's why I said that sentence again.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you recognize that. So for listeners, what they did not see that you and I saw was someone jumped into our video room, and that was kind of weird. Shouldn't be there. But anyway, okay. So what I wanted to say is I think that's important because that's where the whole mindset shift comes into place. That's why we talk about, a mindset shift and mindset growth is because we have to shift ourselves back into that present moment because like you said, we go to the future or the past. How's that going to help us? It's not. It's not healthy.
True.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's not true because anything you pick up from your past, it's your translation of what was there. You don't know what was there. Mm-hmm. I don't know so many situations that I promise this. No, but if you hear it from someone next to you, they can give you a completely different story because they were looking at the third person that was there that was blocking, that you didn't see because of the tree that was blocking your view or whatever it is. So like anything from the past is not true. It's the way you told the story to yourself at that moment because you may have been angry, you may have been anxious, you may have been happy, you may have been thrilled. You could have been so many different things in that moment that when you translated it. So it's relevant to the way you translated it at that moment, but not to what it truly was. And in the past, again, it's our mind making up stories of what may be in the future. And if we're already making up stories, why not make up stories that feel right?
Okay, so my next question for you, can you recommend 3 resources that have helpful information that you want to share?
Yes. Dr. Joe Dispenza really teaches how to reprogram your brain, how to rewire. He says rewire your brain and a lot of quantum jumping. So he helps a lot of people heal through mindset. Dr. William Li is, and I'm not saying like where to find them because you can find them like on their website, you can find them on YouTube, and you can find them, everyone with their own preference on Spotify or anywhere, right? So
yeah.
Dr. William Li is a doctor that did not go with the norm anymore and started looking into health through food, through nutrition. And his YouTube videos are really specific. So, for example, then he has top 4 foods you want to eat in order to. So I'm going to put Dr. William Lee with the Food Revolution and Ocean Robbins in the same place, because I got a lot of the information that I got to heal from them. And I'm going to recommend a movie. Can I?
Absolutely.
So I want to recommend What the Health on Netflix. And that I would love anyone who watches it to write me what they thought. I would love that. I'm inviting you. Please reach out and tell me if that created a shift in your health, if that created a shift in your mind.
In fact, I'm going to make that challenge. So I challenge you to watch it, and I challenge you to reach out to her and give her your insight and your thoughts on it.
Yes, please.
Okay, so what is your last bit of advice that you would like to share with fellow Spoonie sisters?
Find alignment. Reconnect yourself. Discover what makes you feel good and what makes you happy and what pisses you off. Mm-hmm. And avoid that. And listen to yourself. The biggest thing is alignment with yourself, because when we're aligned with ourselves, we get answers. We know what we need to do. We know how we need to act. We know, and forgive me, but the universe works in our favor. Things just work out. When we're aligned with ourselves, everything works out, because we're true to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we know what we want. So we're more precise with the actions that we take. And that's my biggest advice. And I'm here to help whoever wants.
I love that. So where is the best place, or any place, for people to get in touch with you or to find you?
So they can go into Sharon Hefetz Consulting, which is my website.com. I'll also leave my Instagram is Banyas Hefetz, which is my last name. And I'll leave all this information with you, Jen, so you can put it out for them. And I'll also give you the Inner Dialogue ebook, so they can also download that as well.
Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it.
Well, my Spoonie sisters, until next time, don't forget your spoon. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. The information should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, professional advice, diagnoses, or medical intervention. My Spoonie sisters and guests will not be held liable for any of the consequences of such action or inaction. Trigger warning. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, and chronic disease. You are advised to refrain from listening if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. None of the guests or hosts will be responsible for your use of the information contained therein. Life is not merely to be alive, but to be well. Living a life with a chronic illness is best described with one word: unpredictable. Be Well's products are designed to make the unpredictable easier to deal with. Back when I was getting my infusions, I would have loved to have their adult zip hoodie. They even have one in pink. They also have everything from one-day pill holders to urgency buckets. So remember, they want to make your life a little easier. So be sure to check out Be Well.